by Intellipaat. My name is Anirudh, and in this live session, we're going to talk about business analytics. Well, guys, before we begin with this session, make sure to subscribe to the Intellipaat YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you'll never miss an update from us. Well, coming to business analytics, we are running this live session both on our YouTube channel and on our webinar. The webinar link is in the description box below and in the comment section as well. So make sure to check it out and do go there and do post your questions there, and we have experts standing by to answer all your questions. And of course, guys, to begin this session, let us take a look at the agenda. Now, we'll have a quick introduction to what business analytics is, and we'll understand the need of business forecasting and in fact need of business analytics in general as well. After that, let us take a look at all the types of business analytics that exist today, and we'll try to see what problems exist and why business analytics is helping to solve all of these problems and how it's doing to solve these problems as well. And of course, after that, we're going to check out all the top tools in business analytics and the salary trends of a business analyst as well. So I'm sure you guys are excited for this session. At the end of it, we are going to have a senior course advisor guiding you on the quickest way for you guys to upskill yourself and become experts in business analysts. So to check that out, make sure to check the webinar link in the comment section. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the agenda. First, let us start with the quick did you know. So when you think about it, you might be wondering about business analytics and how new of a subject it is, right? Well, let me tell you, it's actually not new. Business analytics has been put to use in organizations for decades right now. Yes, for multiple decades. See, when you think about it, a business analytics solution can be something very simple where you have a problem and you have some sort of an analytic with the data, and then you've come up with an insight for it, right? But then now you might also have a question that states, can I have one solution for every single company out there, every single individual business? The guy. Well, guys, the answer of course is no, because when you think about it, there is no one size fits all, right? So whatever the problem there is, the ability to customize and provide a very full, well-rounded solution is what business analytics is all about, as you'll check out in this session. So having one solution to work for everything is really, really tough. So now, business analytics has been on the rise, and I'm sure you guys know this. It's a top career of this particular decade. It's been forecasted that it's going to be one of the top careers in the next decade, and it's being actively used by hundreds of thousands of businesses today. So what makes this special, right? See, any company out there in the world, they will have some sort of reporting, some sort of accounting to summarize all the data that they have to see if they can find something new, which would be very tough to find with the naked eye. So if they have a lot of data, they can create beautiful looking visualizations, summarize the data, and eventually use the results of this summarization, use the results of this data visualization to basically help drive their businesses to success. So coming to driving business decisions, business analytics has been a key factor here, and it's definitely going to play a huge role from now, probably 50 years from now. What it's going to be the same as well. So what is business analytics? Business analytics is, in very simple terms, taking data from multiple sources and cleaning the data, processing it. Of course, we're going to discuss the process in detail in the next couple of slides. But then when you think about it, you take in data from multiple sources, be it clean data, dirty data, whatever it is, right? So you take this raw data, convert it into useful information by applying certain algorithms on it, models on it, and at the end of it, right, a business analyst's role is mainly to visualize this data and to see if you can pick up something from the data which you couldn't raw from the data, right? So when you think about it and when you put it this way, so think about a situation where you have a business meet, right? So it would add a lot of value where if you show a lot of graphs, a lot of plots, your superiors, people who are not as technical as you can make out a lot from it, right? So if they're not into code, if they're not into looking at Excel sheets or let's say, raw data, basically hundreds of thousands of entries, then think about it, right? So having a beautiful looking visualization and telling them, hey, this is the result of what we have done in a very aesthetically pleasing way, that adds a lot of value, right? So that is what, business analytics is all about. But then when you think about it, in today's world, we are generating so much data, right? So we're generating 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every single day. And that's a huge number. And if you think that was huge, just think of the last 3 years, right? So just go back to 2017. 90% of the data we have in the entire world today came from the last 3 years. That's it. So this should be very mind-boggling if you guys are getting into big data, if you guys are looking into business analytics. This is definitely something which worries a lot of people, and hence business analytics took off to put this as a challenge, solve the problem of having data and using it effectively. Now, if you have a question which states how much is 2.5 quintillion, you might have not heard of the word quintillion, right? So 1 quintillion is 1000 quadrillions, 1 quadrillion is 1000 trillions, and 1 trillion is 1000 billions. And I'm sure you know what 1 billion is, right? So when you think about it, we are generating a huge amount of data. And see, you might be wondering, is all of this data useful? Can we perform analytics on all of this? Let me tell you, the answer to that is no. Here's why. All of this data, right, it's a raw entity. It's not cleaned, it's not processed. But then one part of the data, you can have it cleaned, you can process on it, you can apply a lot of statistical concepts, you can do a lot of filtering in that particular data and have it cleaned. And the other side of it is going to be messy, it's going to be a bit of noise, it's going to be something that will not add value to your business. All right, so you take both the clean data and the messy data after processing, right, after the entire process of business analytics, you get two things. One is good business insight, so you'll be able to see the data in a perspective that you have never seen before. So you'll have the clarity that you've never had before as well. But then alongside this, you might find some noise in the data, which is of course not useful to you. So what happens in this situation is that the majority of the data that comes out, the result, it's going to be business insight. A minority of the data and a small amount of it is going to be noise. And if you're wondering about, can we avoid this noise, can I just push in data and have 100% business insight? Realistically speaking, in a production environment, in a big company, the answer is an absolute no. No matter how much you clean your data, no matter what pre-processing you do, what magic goes on there, you will have something in the output which definitely would not be useful to you, and that's all right. See, if there is 80% of information that I'm getting from my data and 20% of it is noise, I'll be more than obliged to ignore the 20% noise that I'm getting, and of course use the business insight, right? So that's the trick out here. And now, talking about business analytics, there is a very good chance you guys have heard of Microsoft Excel, used it, and you know what? Either you've been trained in school, college, or something, right? So here's a fun fact. Microsoft Excel is one of the most commonly used business analytics tool today. Yes, it's actually very popular and it caters to a lot. What usually beginners use, or a majority of the population uses, probably 20% of what Microsoft Excel has to offer. Because at the end of the day, when you think about it, if you do not have a formal training in advanced Excel or using Excel to its full potential, there is a very good chance that you guys are only making use of 20% of what Microsoft Excel offers to us. So the 80% of it is untapped. It's actually very powerful, it's very easy to use, and in fact, it is definitely driving a majority of the businesses today as well. Of course, there are better tools, there are better business intelligence tools, there are better analytics tools out there. But then when you think about it, Excel has been the go-to standard for many years, and beginners today as well like to start with Excel too. So one very important thing about business analytics is the ability to tell a story. I'll tell you why. See, when you think about it, right, data visualization is something that we all love because the human brain can, pick up images probably 10,000 times faster than text. Yes, that's an actual fact. Now, when you think about converting this raw data that we have into data visualization, into graphs, into plots, and all of this, well and good. You're closer to making a good business insight and driving something out of it. But then business analytics, here's the secret, here's the key. It's all about how you tell the story out. It's all about storytelling, where you have to keep visual learning in mind, because at the end of the day, the way you present those visualizations matter as well, right? So you have a problem here that you're trying to solve. You don't think of the magnitude of the problem. It might be a very small problem that's happening in your sales funnel, or let's say it's a pretty big problem that you're aiming to solve. the ability of a good business analyst versus a great business analyst is how well he or she can put it out, and how well they can communicate with the actual story there, and how well can they solve the problem eventually, right? So that is one very important thing about data storytelling that you have to know. You have to take the raw data, you have to work with it, you have to have the ability to communicate it to other people, you have to show the findings, and you have to show that, hey, this is why we went wrong, or hey, this is what we should do in the next 5 years, next 5 months, whatever it is. I'm sure you guys are catching up on all of these as well. So to talk about data exploration, right? So this is something that you have to think about a lot. See, whenever you're working, right? So you guys might be college students right now. You guys might be coming from a different career, or you guys might be data analysts, business analysts out there. So in this case, you would, you should know this. So there's two things whenever we work with data. We have the sandbox and we have the production environment. In the sandbox, it's like a literal sandbox in the playground, right? So you can do whatever you want, you can practice on the data, you're working there for fun, and you're really not driving any insight. You might be practicing on a data set, you might be learning. So whatever you do, all of these, right, it's in a sandbox environment. But now when you have to talk about a production environment where your insight will mean either making the company a lot of money, losing them money, or in fact, most of the time it's not just money. People are looking towards business analytics for many other things apart from money as well, right? So they're talking about employee efficiency, they're talking about how well a product can be made, they're talking about analyzing customer sentiment, and there's a lot of things that goes on in a production environment. So this switch from you guys starting out in a sandbox environment to understanding that there is a very big difference in working in a production environment, right? So you have to know this. This comes with practice, of course. You really don't have to be worried or scared right now saying, hey, if it's tough, I cannot do it. With adequate training, I am sure all of the viewers that we have here, both on our YouTube and on our Intellipaat webinar, I am sure you guys have the capability. You guys definitely have the capability to be trained and work on becoming experts in this field as well. So the next thing that we have to talk about, whenever I always talk about business analytics, is something called as business forecasting. So this is a very, very important concept. I'll tell you why. Business analytics is all about driving some insight based on the current data that you have, or based on the data that you've probably gathered in the last 1 month, last 1 year, or let's say the last 10 years as well. So what business forecasting does is it gives you a way, it gives you a medium through which you can predict the future. Forecasting literally means that you're forecasting what's going to happen based on the data that you have. How amazing is that, right? So this happens a lot in the world of stock markets. In case if you guys are into trading, people look at the historical trends of stock prices, be it Apple, Google, or any other public company which is on the share market out there, and they try to use the data to see where it might go, where it might end up being balanced on the charts. So it's not only that. Will have a lot of strategies that you will implement if you're selling a product or putting your brand out there, right? So you can have these metrics that you will track. How many customers are liking your product? Are people commenting on your social media posts? What are the trends that are going on currently, and how are you working on the trends? Are you doing things right? Are you not doing things right? Have you done things right in the past? See, you can ask probably 100 questions which are that generic, but then when you start honing down on your problem, right, the more questions you ask, the better you're going to solve a problem. So everything in one point of time in the concept of business analytics comes to forecasting, because half the population would want to know where they've gone wrong, other half of the population would want to know where they want to do right ahead and how they can make things better, and we have another special set of population who want to do both. And you guys as budding business analysts know that you will be put into place where you'll be catering to either of these guys, people who want to better things from the past, and people who want to really take off and be on another league or another level as well. So considering that, business forecasting is very important. And now when you think about why do we even require business analytics in today's world, right? I'm going to give you practical examples. See, think about, a company's human resource department, right? With business forecasting, you can actually identify a project requirement. So let's say your client gives you a project. You will have to sit and identify how many people you need. People of what caliber can you work with beginners for this project, or is it very complex where you have to hire experts to do it, or intermediate users can do it? So let's say you need 100 people for the project, that's the ideal number, but then you go on to hire, let's say, 180 people, not knowing that 100 people is more than enough to finish the job. So what happens here is that you could have saved a little bit of money on those extra 80 people, and probably put it to use somewhere on another project or whatever it is. At the end of the day, we're talking about business, and money drives business, right? So either to hire more employees, or to at least segregate them in different projects. Well, this is definitely where business analytics has been put into a lot of use these days, in my opinion. And it's not only that, let's talk about retail businesses. So holiday season is coming up. It's September now, and November, December, Christmas, New Year is going to be here pretty soon, right? So all the retail businesses out there, they're going to see a huge spike in sales, because people will be buying a lot of stuff. They'll be gifting a lot of stuff across the world, right? It's not just in one country. So these retail businesses need to have strategies where they're stocking up. They're stocking up on content, and that they have the ability to cater to these people if there is a huge rise in the demand. So how do they know how much to buy? They can have the data from the previous year saying, hey, so last year I sold like 8,000 products of this particular item, and this year I might sell 9,000. So let me stock up 9,000. But if they know that they're going to sell 9,000, but they stock up only 5,000, so they're losing the other 4,000 people out there, right? So when you put things into this perspective, business analytics is definitely everywhere. So I just gave you a very simplified example of a retail business, but when you go from retail to trader business, when you go from trader to manufacturer to the actual brand or the product, this just goes up and up in the level, guys. And it's not only that. Here's another one: credit card providers, right? So everyone in the world wants to give you a credit card, and I'm sure you guys have been in this situation. Either you want it or not, there are people who are just pushing you to have one, especially the banks out there, right? So they do that, of course, because one, it's their job. They want to give you a good credit, and they want you to use it, all the benefits that come with it, etc. But what they do in the back end is they actually analyze and see which customer has the capability to actually pay off all the loans in time, who has the percentage of a person actually defaulting the loan and not paying it in time, etc. So they'll have all of these details, and you're given a score. So I'm sure you guys have been in that place where you must have a high score to get a bigger credit. And what do you think drives that score, right? It's all business analytics. So credit card providers, they set a limit for you, not just based on one factor, your salary or whatever it is. They're gonna have a database on you, and they're gonna think a lot of things before actually putting out a credit score for you, or before actually putting out a credit number saying, hey, you're eligible for this amount of credit. So when you think about it, right, business analytics is booming there as well. So with that, now when you're talking about the types of business analytics in today's world, right? So there's three main important types of business analytics, and you really have to know this. So the first type is predictive analytics. In predictive analytics, as the name suggests, what we're trying to do is we're trying to ask questions and we're trying to predict something. So what happens next is the tagline for predictive analytics, in my opinion. So you can talk about what the market share is going to be in the next quarter, how the brand is performing, what marketing campaigns to run in the future, and all of these again, right? So when you think about it, you will have answers to all of these based on your past data. If you analyze it, if you sit and look at the sales numbers, see what's doing well, what's not doing well, what product will sell better, what didn't sell well, and why is it not selling well. So all of these things, where you're putting in predictions and you're saying, I have all of the past data, I have all of the present data, and I want to understand what's going to happen in the future. I want to predict what's going to happen. That's predictive analytics. And then you have descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is another important thing, because here we're trying to ask a question that states what exactly happened, why are we here, and what did we do to come here. So you either might be on a huge boom in your business and you might have sold 100 times what you thought you would, or you're in a huge loss. So the answer to that you're going to get by descriptive analytics. You're like, what product sold the most, why was this product sold the most, what were the sales figures this particular month, why were the sales figures like this month, and what was the reason for either an incline or decline in sales, as I just discussed as well. So a lot of questions which start with what, a lot of questions that start with why. And that's the approach you're going to take if you talk about descriptive analytics, right? So it's very different from predictive analysis when you look at it. Predictive analysis talks about what happens next. Descriptive analytics talks about what exactly happened and why are we here. There's another one. It's called prescriptive analytics. So this is the third type of business analytics that you should know about. So this talks about what should be done next. Well, you might say, hey, isn't this very close to predictive? The answer is yes. This is pretty close to predictive analytics, because here again we are trying to solve a problem by checking out what's going to happen in the future. But here, instead of what, why, we are concerned about the how. We are trying to prescribe the solution to a problem. So how can you cater to your customers better? How can you make them happy? What are the sentiments do they have about your product? So a lot of people go to social media to talk about your products, right? If you are a good brand or a big brand. So when you think about it, it's very important that you check that and you analyze that. Some people might be very happy with your product, while a majority of the people say, hey, this is a flaw in your product, I don't want to buy it, I'm going to go to your competitor. You don't want that, right? So you want a lot of people coming and buying your stuff. So understanding and analyzing their sentiment and asking what, when, how, why, all of these questions are going to be in these three types of business analytics itself. So again, you might have a supply and a demand problem. So there's probably 100 people asking for your product, and you've stocked up like 1,000 or 10,000 of it, and you wondered about why, what went wrong, why do we have so much in stock, and how do we clear the stock. Or let's say 100 people wanted, you have 10 in stock, and you're wondering about what to do about the remaining 90 as well, right? So all of these problems and how you can use analytics to provide a solution to this, business analytics is definitely key here. So with this, I'm sure you guys have a question saying, hey, okay, so what exactly is the process of business analytics? What happens? How does it happen? What order? It's a very simple thing. I'm sure you guys might have heard a lot of complicated business analytics seminars, reviews, or whatever it is. I'm going to keep it very simple here for you guys to get the most out of it. That's my goal here, right? So I'm trying to cater to beginners, intermediate people, advanced people who are coming from another domain or whatever it is. So let's come back. So business analytics process, right? It's pretty simple. It has to start with data always, and I'm sure you guys know this, right? So when you think about it, data is the driving force of the entire business analytics process out here. So what happens is that is at the start of it, data is going to come into your company one way or another. You might have data stored on your server. It might be stored on a server itself, but somewhere else on an offshore server. You might have data coming in from the cloud environment. You might have data coming in from your social media. You might have data coming in from your from everywhere you can basically think of. Let's put it like that, because it actually happens in a production environment. And then what do you do when the data comes in? You have to find a way to store it, right? You have to find a way to store it and have the ability to work with it and pick it up whenever you require. It's not like store and forget, it's store and use. So after the onboarding of data, after you've stored the data, you're going to think about pre-processing it. As I told you, right, it's going to be raw material. So you really cannot put it to use and expect like beautiful results right then and there, right? When you think about it, think about food. There's not a lot of food out there that you can eat raw. I mean, of course you can, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't add value. It's the same for data. You have to clean the data, you have to pre-process it, you have to filter the data in a way where either you keep stuff that's required to you, you remove stuff that's not required to you. Again, we're gonna have an actual discussion on this where I'll be telling you why pre-processing is important. It's in the next slide, so stick with me. But then for now, understand that after the data comes into your company, you will have to work on cleaning the data and keeping it as filtered and as polished as possible. So after this, you in coordination with your data science team, in fact, you can be a data scientist who's working into business analytics as well. So you'll be applying algorithms on the data. You'll be applying a lot of tools, techniques, using methodologies, and you'll be messing with your data to an extent where your data starts revealing stuff. So you have the data from, let's say, the last 10 years of a product you sold. It can be a shoe. So you can find out so many things. At what time of the year did the shoe sell the most? To which country are you catering the most? What size is the most popular size? This will help you manufacture the right sizes better. And and it's a million things that you can find out from just one particular product. Now, if you're an entire brand, if you're a huge brand, and think about all the analytics that you can drive, right? So putting algorithms into use and to actually driving insight, the results of this insight at this point of time is going to actually be in numbers. It's going to be a percentage that says, June we sold these many shoes, and July we have this percentage difference. We either have plus 10% where we've sold 10% more than June, or we have a 10% decline where we actually took a loss and we're selling less this month or whatever it is. So in that particular case, having these numbers at the next step is where you take these numbers and create visualizations around them. You create graphs, plots, charts, and you make visualizations where you can see it clearly saying this is the change. And once you put it out on a graph, as I told you, the human brain has the capability to pick up images 10,000 times faster. So based on that, you will of course drive a lot of analytics as well. And what do you do with the result of those graphs? You can have business meetings, you can show it to your superiors, you can discuss with your co-founders, whatever it is, whatever problem that you're trying to solve. At this point of time, when you're at this business insight, right, you're 70% done with the problem. Once you know what is causing your problem, all you have to do is find out how you can solve it. But then finding out what is causing the problem, that's entirely business analytics, and I'm sure you've got the clear picture about it now, right? So, as I told you, coming to data pre-processing now. Data pre-processing, even though it sounds very simple, trust me, it is the most time-consuming part of the entire business analytics process. You can apply algorithms easily, you can mess around with the efficiency of the algorithm, you can create visualizations, you can drive insight, all of these. But then you cannot do all of that if your data is not very clean. I'll tell you this, because when you're working with a large amount of data, right? See, you might be working with an Excel sheet where you have a lot of data, but some columns are missing, some rows are missing, and all of that. And you might say, hey, you know what? I have 10,000 entries. If I'm missing a little, it's not going to matter, right? Well, absolutely no. If you have a machine learning algorithm there, if you have a deep learning model that you're trying to use to, find out your insights, and you're driving your entire data via modeling there, it becomes very difficult in the next step if your data is not clean, because the accuracy of a model, the accuracy of an algorithm directly depends on how clean or how workable your data is. Because you as a human can probably take 10 days and do it manually. The machine is going to probably take 10 milliseconds and give the result out to you like that. So to achieve that kind of an efficiency, there is a requirement for clean data, and pre-processing is critical, guys. It's critical for the right next step, which is data modeling. Data modeling is when you actually take this clean data, take the pre-processed data, put algorithms on it, work with it to create models. And what are these models? Models are basically real-time simplified implementations of actual scenarios that's happening. If you've sold 10 shoes, you're going to create a model and tell your machine learning algorithm that I want to sell 10 shoes this month. Is it possible or not? It can tell you yes or no, or it can give you an output saying this is the probability of you selling 10 shoes or not. So you can have an yes or no question, you can have a percentage question, you can have a graph, you can do a lot of things. And I think now you guys are getting the picture of how big business analytics is, how much of a grip it has on the world. And with 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every single day, you need a bigger hand to grab the bigger ball out here. So that's how I would definitely want to put it out, because at the end of the day, data is growing out of hand, and we need experts across the globe to have the capability to handle all of these, drive insights out of them, and make use of the data. You might have heard of this term, data is the new oil. You know the value of oil, right? Oil in general is needed everywhere in the world. If you're a civilian, you need oil. If you're a military person, you need oil. If you're a business, you need oil. If you're an industry, you need oil. So any form of oil or petroleum products, right? So the world knows what it's worth. And now the world is understanding what the worth is of data too. And that is exactly why business analysis is booming like there is, no tomorrow. So anyway, coming back, the next thing that you have to understand about is analytics evaluation. See, you can have the best model out there, you can have the best machine learning solution, you can have cleaned your data thoroughly. But then if you do not sit at the last step to see if you have actually solved the problem or how effectively you attacked the problem and solved it, it really is not going to add a lot of value, right? Because think about it. Your problem can be small, your problem can be of a mid-size, or it can be a huge problem. You sitting to verify if you have solved it or not is going to be everything, because what happens in business analytics is you think that you have solved the problem, you think that you have found a solution to something. You'll find out a reason of why you didn't sell 10 shoes this month. But then when you start looking harder and looking deeper into the data, you will realize that you have not looked at a lot of things. You have not looked at the season in which you're selling your shoes. You can be selling a leather shoes in monsoon, and monsoon and leather really doesn't go hand in hand, right? It's just a quick example. And you can be selling a canvas shoes probably sometime in winter, where people would prefer snowy boots or wherever it snows. So all of these things you have to understand. You have to keep looking, this is an iteration. The entire process of analytics and evaluation iteration is an iteration. You do something, you verify to see if it's okay. Can it be done better? Do it. Can't it be done better no matter what? Even if you have had like 3 or 4 expert opinions, then good, you have reached at the optimal solution. That's how you get out of the rabbit hole and not be stuck in this loop where you're trying to find it and make it better and better and better. And that is one very important thing that I had to tell you guys. So, business analytics, right, as we discussed, it's all about solving problems. Who can solve problems the quickest, or how is the best way to solve the problems in an actual production environment, in an actual company out there? Consider this scenario. What happens if they do not have business analyst experts in the company? One, they will have absolutely no idea why they're working the way they are, even though they might be doing good. Two, they're not. There's a good chance they're not looking at future trends to make the full use out of it. Number three, they're really not in touch with their competition to even analyze their competition to see what they're doing effectively or not. So you'll be lagging behind. At the end of the day, if you're put in touch, or if you're put in side by side against a person who has a very complicated, very beautifully put together business analytics solution, you will lag behind. And that's why hundreds of thousands of businesses across today have picked up business analytics. They're looking to hire experts across the globe, and you guys can become these experts. That's the entire point of guiding you guys, because you might be here to either learn about business analytics for fun, or you can be here to make a very serious career out of it because you love data, you love data wrangling, working with data, whatever it is, right? So this happens in an actual production environment. They either hire an expert, they hire a consultant if they do not find an expert, and they try to invest millions into new software where they try to see if softwares can bring in solutions to their problem. And the answer is yes, and we can of course check out the softwares and tools for business analytics in a couple of slides as well. But then this is how it goes on. They start with hiring an expert. If the expert is not available, if he cannot do it, they're going to hire a consultant who's going to do it, and he's going to take a look from the outside. See, when you've been doing so many things, you don't notice it anymore. You've been walking for 25-30 years now. You really don't have to put an effort to walk, right? It comes as a habit to you. So this is what happens in a company as well. You've been doing your business for so long that you might not be aware of problems that exist unless you talk to a person and get that third person opinion. So this is where consultants come into the picture, and software, of course. With the power of computing that we have today, with the rise of quantum computing, we can handle huge amounts of data. It's not just data is pouring in and we're not doing anything about it. The world is doing a lot. But then when you think about the rise of how quickly computers are becoming fast, right? This is something which is astonishing, because right now your phone is probably, your mobile phone, your smartphone is probably 10,000 times or 100,000 times faster than the entire computer or the entire program that was used to put man on the moon. So when you think about this, we have come a long way, and we're going to go a long way in the ahead as well. So business analytics is here to stay, and I'm sure you guys are now understanding why. And as I've told you, business analytics is all about solving problems. And what happens when we come to a problem? We are going to solve something if we have a problem, right? So the first thing you have to do whenever you're working with any sort of business analytics problem is to find out that there is a problem. Once you understand the problem, then you can solve it, right? So there can be so many problems. You will have gaps in the supply chain, as I told you, right? So you will have 10 products and your customers want 100. You will have 10 and they might only want 1. So all these gaps, why it's happening, how it's happening, this is where you will try to solve these problems. Your customers can be going on Twitter or any other social media out there and trying to talk about your product. They're saying either good things, neutral things, bad things, whatever it is. You have to be there to see, analyze, learn, make your product better, right? So this is where another problem is where you can solve. And when you think about designing pricing strategies to increase your revenue, it's all about making money if you're a business. I mean, money is not the only thing, but it is definitely a big part of it that drives the business, right? So it has to be very vital that you understand what are the pricing strategies that you need to put. If your competitor is giving the same product for let's say $10 and you're charging 100 for it, there's a very good chance 90% of the people are going to go pick it up from that person because he's giving it for a lot cheaper than you are. So putting these strategies out, performing competitor analysis, seeing what your product is worth, and then rising the prices as and when you become more popular or you put in more work or when people see the worth in the product, right? So that's one very important thing. And of course, the entirety of business analytics is all about having the ability to provide custom solutions. So as I told you, right, one solution will never fit to all the problems out here, especially in this field. There can be other fields where you can try to make it fit like a puzzle, even though it might not fit very well. But here, absolutely not. If you have a problem, there is a very good chance that you will have a unique solution to it. You can try to fit in other solutions as well. It might just work. I'm not saying it will absolutely not work. It might work, but at the end of the day, is it the best you can do? The answer to that is no. So providing customized solutions is key. And it's not only that, right? So we're talking about all of this. We're talking about what returns that we're going to get. We have to talk about what investment that we put it in, right? So when you're hiring business analytics experts, you have to pay them, of course. You have to pay for all the tools that come in. Some tools are free, some tools are paid, and of course, all of these tools are really beautiful to work with. So what is your balance between how much you have invested versus what your business analytics solution is offering? So is it really worth it for your business? This is the answer I will not have, because it totally depends on your business, the capability of your business analytics, and more. So having the most effective solution to have a balance in between, let's say you invested $100, are you getting $10 out of it and losing 90, or are you getting a $10,000 return out of it? Seeing all the insights, what magic it's doing to your business. So all of this is a very fine balance that exists between investment and return. As and when you guys start working on it, as and when you guys start becoming experts on this, you will understand on how this balance is put into place and how you can actually work on shifting the balance to the return side, where you're investing a lot less, but the returns it's driving is a lot more. And coming to the top business analytics tools that we make use of today, well, when you think about it, we have Microsoft Excel, we have offerings from Tableau, we have Power BI, right? Power Business Intelligence tool is from Microsoft. Some of these tools are free, some of these tools are not. But at the end of the day, each of these tools has its own proprietary use. It has its own features that is the reason why these tools are popular. Excel, Tableau, BI, we have SAS. If you're talking about data analytics and programming, you have the entire programming language of R that you can use, which is meant for that. And you have a lot of things. It's not just these three, right? So if you're talking about tools, we can have an entire video and another 45-minute discussion where I can guide you thoroughly on all the tools that's available, what's right for you, what's not right for you. But then you have to understand that there are reasons why certain tools are sitting on the top, be it Excel, be it Tableau, be it Power BI, or anything else. And it's not just this. You cannot get away by just knowing how to work with Tableau or how to work with Power BI or Excel, right? Business analytics or data analytics involves a lot of data. Handling data is something you really should know, and that's where SQL comes into the picture, right? SQL is a very famous querying language which is meant to talk to a database, where you can query the data, store the data, pull the data, do whatever you want with that data, basically. So when you're working with business analytics, to reiterate, you need to have the capability to work with the database. SQL brings you this. This is one of the skills you should have as a budding business analyst as well. And is it only that? Well, no, you need to have good reporting skills as well, right? So when you think about it, you have created a very good algorithm, you worked with it, your insights are ready, it looks very good. But then if you cannot put these into words, or if you cannot create aesthetically pleasing graphs, or if you cannot explain your findings to someone, probably someone who's non-technical, probably someone who's your director or whatever it is, it will not make sense, right? So you are 90% there, but then the 10% is literally what matters a lot. So that is where you need reporting skills as well. So apart from Excel, Tableau, or Power BI, you will require working with SQL, and you will definitely require some skills on team playing, communication, and your love for data is going to matter a lot as well. So these are some of the tools that's been put to active use. And then we always get asked this question saying, what are the insights for business analytics? What are the salaries like? Well, guys, you know what? Here's the numbers directly on your screen, because when you think about it, the pay is amazingly well. A business analyst can get somewhere around 90,000 American dollars in USA, 9 lakhs per annum in India, and about 60,000 pounds in the United Kingdom as well. So when you think about these, the salary trends are amazing for one reason. It's that business analytics is required almost everywhere, right? So you've sat with me for 45 minutes right now. You understand where I'm going. You understand the value of business analytics, right? So now you know what business analytics is, what are the types of it, where it's used, why it's needed, how are people using it, what's the difference between a production environment and a non-production environment. So you have all of these So you have all of these ideas in your head right now. Now understand this: it's a top career, in this particular decade. It's been foretold that it's going to be another top career in the next 10 years as well. So when you think about it, future proofing for your career is definitely there. The pay is good. You're going to love working on business analytics because of one thing. Whatever you do, whatever work you do, it's going to have a huge impact on the business, right? I give you very simple examples: selling one shoes, selling 10 shoes, or 100 shoes. If you're working for a big shoe manufacturer, think about this: you'll be selling millions of shoes a month. So in that particular case, your insights, your algorithms, your visualizations, your ability to tell stories out, your ability to take numbers, work with them, and put out amazing insights out of it is going to either make it or break it for multiple businesses out there, guys. So even if you're a beginner, understand that this job is going to add a lot of value to the business. It's going to add a lot of value to you and the world around you at the same time as well. So with this, we have to come to my final thoughts. So whenever you think about, working with business analytics, whenever you think about starting a career here or something, always read this quote: "Working without data is like driving with your eyes closed." Can you drive with your eyes closed? 9 on 10 people are going to say, of course not, you cannot do it. And yeah, there's going to be one guy who's going to say, yes, AI is going to do it. Right, I understand that. But then coming back to data, data is the new oil. You cannot drive a business without data, guys. Be it past data, present data, or you're trying to even gather data of what's going to happen in the future. So you really need to understand the huge problem we have between where everyone is hoarding a lot of data. Basically, do they have the capability to make full use out of it? Are they making good use out of it? Because see, if you have the capability to work with business analytics, you will be on both sides of the fences. You can make very good use of the data, or you can make use of it in a bad way as well if you choose to. But then of course, let's not talk about that, but understand that you can. In every field there's good or bad, right? So it depends on what you want to do. And of course, I know for a fact that majority of you guys are on the good side here. So jump on the trend, understand one particular thing, understand one very important thing, that this is a top career to have. Understand that it's paying you well, it is trending right now. So just climb aboard the trend train and ride it to success is what I would like to say. Working with business analytics has been fun, particularly for me, because I love working with data. So it's like a little treasure hunt whenever you open a new data set or something and you're working and you're wondering about what you will find. What's the correlation between the data that exists? So what can you tell that you literally cannot tell if you just looked at the data? What kind of graphs can you do? What storyboards can you put out? What reports can you generate out of it? So if you have a love for data, let me tell you, business analytics is one definite field that you guys should look after as well. So, you might be asking, okay, wonderful, I want to start picking this up. So for more learning content, we have the Intellipaat YouTube channel where, we put in expertly curated videos every single day of the year. So if you have any requests, again, head to the comment section and do let us know there. Make sure to check out the channel where you're exactly watching the video right now. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon. And, if you're much of a blog reader, we have a completely comprehensive blog channel where we have experts who write a lot of technical blogs which can definitely help you to give you clarity about any sort of IT concept that you're looking for. So make sure to check out Intellipaat blogs as well. And of course, we have Intellipaat community where we find people across the world asking a lot of questions, technical questions, general questions, non-technical questions, and we have experts again sitting everywhere across the world answering that. So Intellipaat community is a beautiful place where you can ask a very simple question or you can ask an extremely complex question, and there's a good chance an expert is going to answer that question, or you're going to have more than one answer where you can have an entire discussion, meet new people. Let's say you guys are Python developers, or let's say you guys are R developers or business analysts as well. So you can meet with other people who are doing the same thing, who might have the same questions as you, or they can give you an answer which you might have not known before as well. So when you think about that, it is definitely adding a lot of value. So all of these are mediums through which Intellipaat is trying to help out all of the learners out there. So now, guys, I have a senior course advisor on the line here with me, and this person is going to guide you on the fastest way possible, the most comprehensive way where you can thoroughly learn all of these concepts and master them, and have a good kickstart in your career as well. So over to my colleague now.